There, this is Pastor Padron, and I am a certified tobacconist who works at Twin Smoke Shop in Londonderry, New Hampshire. And I'm also the host of Not Just Blowing Smoke, the new podcast that we're doing. And I'm here with Nick Perdomo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's awesome. You know, I'm so glad to have this opportunity to talk with you because you're really at the top of so much of what's going on in the business. You know, agriculturally, your irrigation system, employee retention, all the stuff that you're doing with marketing, product education, quality control. You're at the top of your game and all this stuff. How did you get you're at the top of everything, man?
Well, thanks very much. That's very kind of you.
Truth.
Well, I believe that's really important. I believe, one, that our customers deserve at least that. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the most things I'm proud of is not only the quality control of our products,
sure, but
also the retention of our employees. I've always believed that if you treat your employees great, you're always going to build that retention. And the average employee that's worked for Perdomo has been with the company for 18.3 years.
That's unreal to me. I mean, I knew that coming into this, but because we've talked about that before. But that's just, you don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of that. We really try to take care of our employees, whether from my 85-year-old mother who still comes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, even though we still open up at 8:30 in the morning, and all the way down to everybody. I think everybody's important. You know, we had a factory tour recently last year, and a guy said, you treat the guy who cleans the floors exactly like your general manager. We have over 4,900 employees who work for the company. And I said, well, that guy who cleans the floors is just as important, because if he doesn't clean, we have sick leave, you have dust. So I believe it's really important that you treat your employees really well, and I think it pays back on both aspects, whether it be on the management side or the employee side. And I just feel very blessed that we have such a great group of employees, whether it be here in the United States or in Nicaragua.
How is that split between Miami and Nicaragua?
Well, the ratio, of course, is much higher in Central America because of the manufacturing and everything, with us being completely vertically integrated in Nicaragua. But we have a phenomenal team in the Miami office where we have 23 employees. In Miami, we have 16 sales guys that I wouldn't trade for anybody, and all around the country that work for us in the United States. And we have a great distribution team all around Europe and Asia that represent us and do a phenomenal job there. So I feel like the most blessed man around.
Oh, that's awesome. One of the things that we've talked about in the past is all the work and research that you've put into marketing and into educational areas. That was something that you realized that didn't happen very much in the industry, was educating the people who are actually retailing the cigars about the products, so that they know how to sell it. How what got you onto that? How important do you think that is for your success today, for stores to get on board with that?
Yeah, all that you got is a couple cigar magazines that put out a lot of, I felt, some erroneous information on whether it be how cigars were made. And I also thought that we could help our retailers and our consumers, for that matter, on not only the teachings on how cigars were made, but we also, I thought I could help retailers also on how to sell our cigars better.
Sure.
Whether it be properly merchandising cigars, showcasing our cigars. And I wanted to help the retailers, whether it be with really good shelf talkers with good information. It would help not only the retailers, but also our consumers that had questions, whether it be flavor characteristics of the cigars, and having really beautiful merchandising. I always felt that a box of cigars was really special. It wasn't about a free lighter or a cutter. It was about, I remember when I bought my first box of cigars, I remember looking at it, and my wife was saying, "What are you staring at?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember it was an $85 box of cigars, and I was just looking at this box, and I said, Janine, this is the first box of cigars I bought. To me, this was special." And I remember the guy who sold me the cigars, and he was dressed in a suit, and it was something special. Not like today where you just you get something free. Right. To me, it was never about that. Always a box of cigars was it was a celebratory thing, and I still sell a box of cigars like that today. Whatever event I do, a lot of times I have to say, and by the way, you get this, because when I finish selling that box of cigars. That guy is so focused about how special that box of cigars are and the work that it took to make those cigars.
Yeah.
And that's what cigar smoking is all about, how special it is and how celebratory it is. And I feel that really helped not only the retailer and the consumer, and I think that educational process was really paramount in helping both the retailer and the consumer. And that's just an excellent question you asked, but I think it was really helpful to all of us, whether it be myself as the manufacturer or Mr. Retailer or to our consumers around the world. And I think it's been helpful throughout the years in doing that.
You have an actual certification program.
We do.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Well, what I wanted to do is I know they have all these different types of programs around, and I've had people come down to our factory tours, and I wanted to do something which was much more profound. I'd love for you to come to it, and
Hear that?
yeah, and I wanted people to really see the nuts and bolts about not only proper cigar making, but to see everything, and I thought I could do it because I'm completely vertically integrated, whether it be genetics, the seed, all the way through everything, because we do everything. We even make our own staples. I mean, I wanted everybody to see all 3,054 steps that my dad said it would take to make a Perdomo cigar. I also wanted them to see proper merchandising, proper salesmanship, and we did this together with retailers and consumers. And a lot of people said this is like a university. And I wanted to do kind of like a University of Perdomo for cigars. And in the last 14 years, we've had over 5,134 people go through it. And we're going to have another 450 to 500 in 2020 go through this program. If you ask anybody who's ever gone through it, we're giving you information almost like a fire hose,
Right.
Of information, and we're trying to get you to drink out of it in 3.5 working days. And so many people have loved it. We've had people come 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years in a row. We've had some of the major companies send all their managers down year in and year out. And one thing I've noticed is they've gotten so much out of it, whether it be a consumer or a retailer or whatever. And it's been a joy to us, and so much so that the only people that do these tours are myself or Arthur Kemper, our vice president, and soon in the future will be my son Nicholas, who was just promoted director of sales. So it's a joy for me to teach my passion, and I love doing it.
That's awesome. And something that's coming to mind, with all this, your cigars are sold literally all over the world, and you travel a lot and go to these places. You have almost 5,000 employees and this incredible integrated business that goes, as you say, from genetics all the way to the final product. In addition to all this other educational stuff that you're doing to help promote that stuff, when you're in business and you're doing that, one of the biggest challenges I see with people who are in a company of your size and have your level of success is it's so hard to keep work and family, you say balanced, but I mean, I don't even know if that's the right word, but you're one of these guys that has done that. And, I know your daughter just got married this summer. There was all sorts of social media about it, and it was great watching that. Your son's involved in the work. Your mom is involved at work. And you're still, after 20, how many years have you been married, you said?
30.
30 years. You're still married, and Janine is awesome. And how have you managed that with all of this other stuff going on?
Well, I think first of all, our faith. Second of all, it's just we have a great family structure because it's tough. I work with family, which can be either very easy or extremely difficult.
It's never in between.
Yeah, it's never in between. I've been blessed. It's worked out great. I've taken 3 vacations this year, and my wife, for the first 17 years of our marriage, I never took a day off. Only Christmas and New Year's Day. Wow. And I would fly in for every baseball, soccer game, football game, and basketball game because I never missed anything or an award. But I worked my tail off. And I was blessed to have a wife who supported me and a family who supported me and workers who worked their butts off to make sure I could do that. And it's been a joy that I've been able to do that too because I love what I do and I still travel and work just as hard as I've ever done. But my wife said, this year we're going to take vacations because I've been with you through thick and thin, and she's absolutely right.
That's true.
So, I've been blessed. I've been able to do that. And I've done a lot in my life because I've been blessed to have such a great family and such a great workforce who support me, whether during my time where I was in politics, where I found out what a good president CEO is. You know what a good president CEO is? When he can take time off and see how useless he is, that he can be gone for a time and see how great his workers are.
Yeah.
They can pick up the slack for him. That means I did a great job.
Right.
By building such a great staff. So I'm really proud of all our workers. They're phenomenal. I'm blessed to have them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Another challenge that leaders have is passing that baton of leadership and preparing the next generation for what's coming up next. And it's exciting to see your son stepping into that now as the director of sales for Perdomo. Can you say anything about your thoughts or plans or aspirations for the future and working with him and how you see things moving on into the next generation here?
Well, first of all, it's probably the hardest thing being my son. I'm probably the hardest and the easiest guy to work for. If you do your job, I'm the easiest. If you're not, I'm probably not the easiest. I never promote anybody because of their last name. I always wanted my son to blaze his own path. He's always wanted to be in this business since he was about 7. He always loved it. He spent a lot of summers working with my dad when he was alive in Nicaragua, and he's always been smitten by this business. So when he graduated from the University of Miami, he said, "Dad, this is what I want," and he started working for us. And you have to walk the walk before you talk the talk. And he started from the ground up. He was never given an office, and whether it be unloading containers or picking tobacco, he had to do everything because I wanted him to do every single job that had to be done in the factory, just like I did.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And he did it, and we promoted him last January to director of sales, and I kept it kind of under radar. And we had a record January, record February, March, April, May, and June under his leadership. And it's tough because he's had snide comments from people. If you met my son, he's a 26-year-old kid but with a brain of a guy that's 50. He's more comfortable talking to you than he is a lot of times with kids his age because I brought him to these trade shows since he was 15, and he was writing, $500,000 orders when he was 17, and people were saying, "How old is this guy? Is he 25?" And I'd say, "No, he's 17." But he learned from me, and he was recently in a retailer, and the retailer said, "How do you like working for a 25-year-old kid?" And he said, "You know what? I heard what you said, and you don't owe me a modicum of respect, but I'm going to deserve that respect. But you've known my dad a long time, right?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, when you knew my dad, he was 25. And he had just started the business. But I was blessed that I've been under my dad's leadership for 7 years, so I had a lot of great training under my father. Well, even with that being said, you'll earn my respect. But right now, I understand, and I have no problem with you not respecting me because I don't deserve it right now. So these are things usually you don't see a 26-year-old young man saying that. But I'm really proud of him. He's done a lot of great things. He's developed some vertical merchandising that we've done, and it's been very profitable for the company. He's split territories. He's done a lot of great moves with our sales team, and they really respect him, not because he's Nick's son. It's because Nick Perdomo III has done a great job with the sales team, and I'm really proud of him. And he's a hell of a lot better than I was at that age. So that's exactly what I do. And that's exactly why I'm so proud of him, not because he's Nick's son, and nobody's been saying that he's Nick's son, but he's got that position for one reason.
Yeah, and you're saying your numbers have been up every month.
Super record numbers, and he deserves it. And I'm glad that our sales team has a lot of respect for him. And it must be hard for them too, because a lot of these guys are a lot older than he is. And I think it's been tough for both of them, but it's been a love affair between both of them too, and a lot of respect, which is the most important part.
As we've talked about too, you do a lot of traveling, and you go and you visit a lot of shops. You spend a lot of time going around. You've been busy this week in the New England area, going from place to place. No real downtime for you. But what do you enjoy about that? About getting into the local places where your stuff is sold? what motivates you to do that? Why? Because it's not for you a pain. That's not something you dread, from what we've talked about. But you really kind of, there's something in there that you like. Talk about that.
Yeah, sometimes I have to pinch myself. What a pleasure. It really is. Nobody comes up to me and says, I'm going to a funeral, I need a box of cigars. Nobody's upset to see me. Everybody's happy to see me. I feel like I'm the butcher and I'm selling steak and everybody's hungry. I mean, what a blessing. I mean, nobody is angry to see me. I just visited 31 stores this week.
Wow.
I've done 3 events, and I love it more than anything. The only thing I don't like about my job is 3 letters. It's called TSA.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for those 3 things, I'd be even more than happy. That's the only drag about anything. But everything else is, how great is this? I'm going to shops. Everybody's happy to see me. The consumer's happy to see me. People want to take pictures with me. I mean, I don't know why, but but literally, I literally feel like I want to pinch myself. I mean, the hair stands on my arms even as I talk to you because I feel so blessed that people want to do that. Can you imagine? You feel almost, people treat you like you're a rock star, and I'm so humbled by it because I make cigars. I didn't cure cancer or do anything like that, and people are genuinely happy to see. I just did a cigar dinner on Tuesday, and a gentleman drove 9 hours from Canada to come to the dinner, and he said, Nick, I just came to see you. Brought so much enjoyment into my life. I've been smoking your cigars for 19 years. I pay 780 Canadian dollars for your cigars in Canada. I come down and I buy them here also. But it doesn't matter. I can't tell you how many times when my son got married and I bought a box of champagne and the times I had sitting with my son. I can't tell you all these experiences. I mean, tears were coming down my eyes. And I said, you're sitting there by yourself. And I got him and said, hey, everybody. I said, this gentleman drove 9 hours from Canada. Is that incredible? And all these guys went, sit at our table, man. And I said, this is the greatest job in the world. And he, at the end of the night, he said, thank you so much for doing that. I was sitting here by myself and everybody, took him to the table and I could see him laughing and it really made my night. I met this guy named Bob Morgan, and he was just so nice, telling me all these stories of his enjoyment, his experiences with the cigars. And it's incredible when you can make somebody happy about what you do and your passion. Who's got a better job than me in reality when you really think about it? I'm just, just so happy that I can do this. So when people say, boy, this must be a drag, I said, no, it's not a drag at all. It's a blessing.
It's and speaking of blessing, can you bless us with any fun stories of Kirk Kendall over the last number of years? Do you have any good, juicy memories with him that we can maybe share?
Well, I can tell you one thing, and I think a lot of people know this, but Kirk Kendall is a very nice man. He always has been. He's always been a gentleman with me. He's always been a supporter of our products through thick and thin. I remember him when he had those little stores that he had, and it's always a great experience when you deal with people that are kind to you and always have given you a shot when you were in business. And I'd like to thank you, Kurt, for always supporting me in all seriousness. So I don't know if I got a juicy story about Kurt. He's got his tattoos and he looks like a tough guy, but he's really a sweetheart of a person. And it makes business a lot more nice when you're dealing with really good people. And he's really one of the good ones.
Kirk definitely is good people.
Yeah, very good.
Nick, thank you very much for giving us some of your time. And,
thank you.
Wish you all the best and hope you have a great rest of the night.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.